The galactic arena was a place of pride. 1,000 worlds had gathered, their banners shining under artificial suns. Every empire came to display their power. They came to prove why their species ruled the stars. The floor trembled as heavy weapons were rolled in. Cannons the size of towers, blades that glowed with living fire, drones humming with antimatter cores. Alien generals smiled proudly, each showing the weapon that kept their people safe. But then came the humans. They walked into the arena with nothing. No shining weapons, no machines of war, only their plain uniforms and steady steps. The crowd fell into laughter. "Is this a joke?" sneered a six-eyed warlord, his voice booming across the chamber. His armor gleamed with spikes of crystal, his hands gripping a war axe humming with plasma. A species without weapons cannot survive. They are already dead. Laughter grew louder. Species from the far corners of the galaxy mocked the humans. Some hissed. Some pounded their claws on the floor. Others simply shook their heads in pity. But the humans did not flinch. At the front stood a human diplomat named Ambassador Hale, a tall woman with calm eyes that carried no fear. Beside her stood a young soldier named Corporal Adam Reyes, his jaw tight, his hands empty. He had never felt so many eyes upon him, yet he stood straight. The six-eyed warlord stepped forward, pointing his glowing axe at the humans. "Where are your weapons? Show us what makes you strong, or admit you are weak." Ambassador Hale's voice was quiet, but it carried through the chamber. "We do not need weapons." The crowd burst into more laughter, but she raised her hand, silencing them. Her eyes scanned the thousands of alien faces. "We are the weapon." For a moment, silence struck. The words were simple, but they carried a strange weight. The laughter faltered. The warlord narrowed his six eyes. "Empty words," he spat. "A body is only flesh. Flesh cannot stop steel. Flesh cannot resist fire. Flesh cannot fight what my people bring to war." But Ambassador Hale only smiled faintly. "You believe strength is in the weapon you hold. We know strength comes from within." Corporal Reyes shifted beside her. He remembered the briefings, the warnings before they came here. The galaxy did not understand humans. That misunderstanding could kill them or save them. He said nothing, but his silence spoke louder than many shouts. The alien council grew restless. One general, with tusks sharp as knives, barked, "Prove it. If you're truly weapons, then show us. Face the trial of predators." The arena roared with approval. Aliens pounded their claws and fists against the seats, hungry for blood. Ambassador Hale's expression did not change. "We accept." Corporal Reyes felt his chest tighten. He had trained for combat, yes, but not like this. Not against beasts bred to kill. Not before the eyes of the entire galaxy. He glanced at the ambassador. Her calmness was unsettling. Did she know something he didn't? The warlord grinned, revealing rows of jagged teeth. "Then it is decided. You will step into the pit unarmed. If you survive, perhaps we will believe your words. If you die, the galaxy will forget your kind." The arena erupted again. Some shouted in excitement. Others whispered in doubt. As the humans were led away, many alien leaders whispered to each other. "They have no weapons. They will be slaughtered. Perhaps their arrogance will be their end." But not all were convinced. One alien scientist, a pale creature with skin like glass, leaned toward his colleague. "Do you not see their eyes? They're not afraid. Why are they not afraid?" Ambassador Hale walked calmly, her footsteps echoing in the stone corridors beneath the arena. Corporal Reyes followed, his heart pounding. He could hear the roars of the beasts above, waiting in cages. Finally, he spoke. "Ambassador, are we really ready for this? They think we'll be torn apart." She turned to him, her eyes calm, almost too calm. "Let them think what they want. They do not understand." "Understand what?" he asked. "That humans have never needed weapons to survive," she said softly. "Long before we held steel, we fought with our hands, our minds, our fear. Earth was our arena, and we never lost." Reyes swallowed hard. He wanted to believe her, but as the roar of alien monsters shook the walls, doubt crept into his mind. Could flesh really stand against Fong and Claw? Above them, The alien council announced the trial. The cages rattled, the beasts inside hungry for blood. The galaxy leaned forward, waiting for the humans to step into the sand. The humans walked out, empty-handed, before 1,000 eyes. The laughter returned, cruel and sharp. But when Ambassador Hale raised her hand in silence, the laughter slowly died again. Her voice echoed, firm and unshaken. "We are ready." And the cages began to open. The cages shook. Metal doors groaned as they lifted. From the shadows came the roars of beasts that had never known mercy. The galactic arena trembled as the creatures stepped into the light. One was a scaled monster, tall as a transport ship, with claws that dripped with burning acid. Another was a four-legged predator with armored hide and eyes that glowed red. Smaller ones hissed, darting forward with speed that could cut air. Every alien in the stands leaned forward. This was the trial that had broken countless warriors. No species had ever faced these monsters without the most advanced weapons. Yet the humans walked out unarmed. Corporal Adam Reyes felt the sand shift beneath his boots. His throat was dry, but his eyes stayed sharp. Ambassador Hale stood beside him, hands at her sides, as calm as if she were waiting in a council chamber instead of a battlefield. The six-eyed warlord raised his hand and shouted, "Let the trial begin." The cages opened fully. The monster screamed and charged. The crowd roared, certain it was already over. But what happened next silenced them. Reyes moved first. His body dropped low, rolling beneath the swipe of claw that could have cut him in half. He grabbed a handful of sand and flung it into the eyes of the beast. It shrieked, blinded for a second, and that second was enough. Reyes leapt onto its back, wrapping his arms around its neck. His muscles strained, his teeth gritted, and with a sharp twist, the predator crashed to the ground, choking. Gasps filled the arena. "This cannot be," hissed an alien general. Another beast lunged, snapping its armored jaws toward Ambassador Hale. But she did not move with panic. She stepped aside smoothly, letting the monster's weight carry it past her. With a calm motion, she kicked at its joint. The joint cracked. The monster howled, stumbling. The aliens blinked in shock. The human diplomat had not panicked. She had fought with precision, as if she had been waiting for this moment her whole life. The four-legged predator circled back, growling. Reyes faced it, breathing hard but steady. His fists were bloodied, his uniform torn, yet his eyes glowed with something the aliens did not understand. Something like fire. The predator lunged again. This time Reyes did not dodge. He ran forward. The crowd screamed as he collided with the beast. His shoulder slammed into its chest, his hands gripping its jaws. The monster snapped, but Reyes roared louder, forcing the jaws apart with raw strength. Bone cracked. The predator fell still. Silence. Thousands of alien eyes stared in disbelief. The monsters that had torn through armed soldiers before now lay broken in the sand, defeated by empty hands. But the trial was not over. The ground shook as the largest beast finally moved. It was a towering creature, a nightmare from a volcanic world. Its skin was black stone, its mouth glowing with fire. Its roar shook the arena to its foundation. Reyes stumbled back, sweat pouring down his face. Even he knew this one was different. The six-eyed warlord leaned forward in his seat, grinning. "Now they will die." The beast advanced, each step cracking stone. Reyes glanced at Ambassador Hale, his chest heaving. "We can't fight that with our hands." But Hale's eyes were steady, calm as ever. "We don't need to fight it with our hands." Reyes frowned, confused. Then he saw her step forward, not with speed, not with strength, but with silence. She stood tall, her eyes locked on the creature's glowing face. The predator slowed. Its fiery growl weakened. The crowd fell into uneasy silence. The beast lowered its head, sniffing the air. It could crush her with one strike, yet it hesitated. Reyes realized what was happening. The predator felt something it did not understand. Fear. Ambassador Hale's voice carried across the arena, calm but firm. Predators know predators. They know when they face one of their own. The creature backed away, step by step. Its fire dimmed. With a final hiss, It turned and slunk into the shadows, retreating back into its cage. The arena froze. For the first time in history, the monsters had been defeated without a single weapon. The six-eyed warlord's jaw hung open. His claws tightened on his plasma axe. He could not speak. Other generals whispered in shock. How can flesh defeat claw? They fight with nothing but their bodies. No, not just bodies. Something else. Ambassador Hale finally turned to face the council. Her eyes were calm, her hands still empty. Do you see now? You worship weapons. We do not. We carry something stronger. Reyes stood beside her, blood dripping from his fists, chest rising and falling with heavy breaths. He had survived what no one thought possible. The arena, once filled with mocking laughter, now sat in heavy silence. No one dared speak. Then, slowly, applause began. A single alien, the glass-skinned scientist, clapped his hands together. Others followed, hesitant, then stronger, until the whole arena shook with thunderous sound. But not all were applauding. The six-eyed warlord's face twisted with rage. He slammed his axe into the ground, sparks flying. This proves nothing, he roared. Tricks. Illusions. The humans cheat. Ambassador Hale tilted her head slightly, her calm never breaking. If you believe that, then test us again. The warlord's 6 eyes burned with fury. He raised his voice to the council. Then let them face not beasts, but armies. Let them step onto the battlefield against steel and fire. Let us see how long their flesh survives war. The crowd gasped. Reyes clenched his fists. The monsters had been one thing. But armies? Fleets? Could they survive that without weapons? Ambassador Hale only gave a faint smile. We accept. The arena shook again, this time not with laughter, but with unease. Something had changed. Something no one could explain. The galaxy had seen humans fight with no weapons and win. And deep inside, even the warlord felt it, a quiet, unfamiliar feeling. Fear. Sparkle's word count, 905. The galaxy could not forget what it had seen. Beasts that had torn apart soldiers for centuries had fallen to humans with nothing but their bare hands and cold stares. Yet not everyone was convinced. Some called it luck. Others called it tricks. And still others whispered that something more dangerous was at work. It was during the days that followed that the galaxy began to notice something strange. In the war camps of the Council, alien soldiers trained as they always had. Armies marched, weapons hummed, and drills shook the ground. But when humans entered the field, even without weapons, the atmosphere changed. The soldiers grew restless. They tightened their grips on their rifles. Some broke formation. Even machines, programmed to never feel fear, seemed to hesitate when human eyes locked on them. One alien commander, his tusks sharp and polished, watched from a balcony. Below him, hundreds of troops were preparing for a joint exercise. Humans had been added to the drill for the first time. The soldiers expected humans to bring their weapons this time. But again, the humans arrived empty-handed. The young soldier, Corporal Adam Reyes, walked at the front. His knuckles were still bruised from the beasts he had fought. He said nothing as he stood before the alien troops. He only looked at them, and that look was enough. The line of soldiers shifted nervously. Some lowered their eyes. One even stepped back. The commander's jaw clenched. Hold your line. They're only flesh. But deep inside, even he felt it. Something about that stare. It was as if the human was not a soldier at all, but a predator waiting to strike. Ambassador Hale stood beside Reyes, her voice calm. You see it, don't you? The way they react. Fear is the oldest weapon, and it needs no blade. The commander bared his tusks. Fear is nothing. Fire destroys fear. Steel cuts fear. Fear does not win wars. Then why do your soldiers tremble? Hale asked softly. The commander said nothing. He only turned away, his tusks grinding together. The exercise began. Alien soldiers raised their rifles, filling the field with fire. Energy bolts scorched the air. Explosions tore through the sand. But the humans? They vanished into the smoke. No weapons. No shields. Only movement. Reyes moved like a shadow. He slipped between blasts, rolled under fire, and struck at weak points with nothing but his hands. A rifle clattered to the ground. Useless. A soldier screamed as he was dragged into the smoke, only to fall unconscious seconds later. Everywhere, human figures appeared and disappeared, striking not with fire, but with silence. The soldiers panicked. Their lines broke. Some dropped their rifles and ran. Others fired wildly into the smoke, hitting nothing. From the balcony, the commander felt his stomach twist. This was not battle. This was hunting. When the smoke cleared, the humans stood in the center of the field. Around them lay dozens of disarmed soldiers, their weapons scattered in the dust. Not one human carried a gun. Not one human had fallen. The soldiers, humiliated, avoided their eyes. Ambassador Hale looked up at the commander. Now, what do you see? Fear is stronger than fire. A soldier who is afraid will miss his shot. A soldier who is afraid will run. A soldier who is afraid has already lost. The commander's tusks clicked together. He wanted to deny it, but the proof lay scattered at his feet. Later, in a private chamber, the council argued. Generals shouted. Scientists whispered. Politicians demanded answers. They turned fear itself into a weapon. It was only training. In real war, they will fall. No. I watched. Even the machines faltered. One scientist spoke up. He was the same pale creature with glass-like skin who had clapped in the arena. His voice shook, but his words carried weight. You do not understand, he said. They are predators. Not like us, who build weapons to become predators. They are predators, shaped by their world. Their minds are sharpened by fear, their bodies trained by survival. When you face them, you do not face soldiers. You face the history of a death world that never forgave weakness. The chamber fell silent. Ambassador Hale's voice broke the silence. She stood tall, calm as ever. You believe we are weak because we carry no weapons. But it is because we do not need them. Weapons can break. They can be stolen. They can be destroyed. But the weapon inside us, our will, our fear, our unity, cannot be taken. Corporal Reyes stood behind her, silent, his fists still bruised. He did not need to speak. His presence alone was enough. One alien leader, a scaled reptilian with burning yellow eyes, finally muttered, If they fight like this without weapons, what happens if they ever decide to use them? The question hung in the chamber like a storm cloud. No one answered. That night, across the galaxy, the whispers began. Soldiers told each other not to look too long into human eyes. Commanders warned their troops that fighting humans was not like fighting others. Scientists argued in secret halls, asking if a species that carried fear itself could ever be defeated. And somewhere in the shadows, the six-eyed warlord sharpened his axe, fury boiling inside him. They will not frighten me, he growled. Next time, they will face true war. No beasts, no games, armies, weapons, fire. He smiled coldly, though deep inside, even he felt something he would never admit. That same fear. The galaxy demanded proof. The council chambers burned with debate. Some generals shouted that the humans were only playing tricks. Others whispered that fear itself was more dangerous than any plasma cannon. But the six-eyed warlord slammed his axe on the stone floor, silencing them all. Enough games, he roared. Let them face war itself. Let them stand on the battlefield against armies, against steel and fire. Then we will see if flesh can resist true destruction. The vote was taken. The motion passed. The humans would face a full-scale war exercise. The battlefield was prepared on a barren moon, its surface nothing but jagged rock and endless dust. Simulated armies were deployed, thousands of alien soldiers armed with blasters, cannons, and tanks that rumbled like thunder. Drones filled the skies, their sensors sharp. It was a battlefield designed to crush entire legions. And into that storm, the humans walked with nothing. Ambassador Hale stood at the front, her expression calm as ever. Beside her was Corporal Adam Reyes, his jaw set, his fists already scarred from battles past. Behind them were a small unit of unarmed human volunteers, men and women who carried no rifles, no shields, no armor. Only their bodies, their minds, and their will. From the high cliffs, alien generals and leaders watched. The six-eyed warlord leaned forward, his grin sharp. This time, he muttered, "They will fall." The horn of war sounded. The alien armies advanced. Thousands of soldiers moved in formation, their weapons glowing in the dark. Tanks rumbled forward, cannons charged, drones scanned every inch of the rocky field. The humans did not charge. They did not fire. They simply vanished into the dust. The first clash was silence. Alien soldiers stumbled into traps, pits hidden under the dust, rocks that rolled at the perfect time, cliffs that crumbled where humans had climbed moments before. The ground itself seemed to turn against the armies. "Impossible," hissed a general. "They have no weapons." But they did not need them. Reyes moved like a ghost, his body covered in dirt to blend with the rocks. A squad of alien soldiers advanced, rifles raised. A whisper of stone behind them. Then Reyes struck. His fists broke weapons. His arms dragged soldiers down into the dust. By the time reinforcements arrived, the squad was gone. Another human team climbed high cliffs without gear, moving faster than drones could track. From above, they hurled rocks and debris onto armored tanks. Cracks formed in the metal. The tanks stalled. Soldiers panicked as shadows leapt down from the cliffs, striking with brutal precision. The battlefield filled with chaos. The alien formation shattered. Weapons fired into empty air. Soldiers screamed, not from wounds, but from confusion. Where are they? They come from nowhere. Are we fighting soldiers or shadows? From the command ridge, the six-eyed warlord slammed his fist against the stone. Hold your lines. They are only flesh. But flesh had turned the battlefield into a weapon. The humans moved with unity, never needing to shout, never breaking rhythm. They knew each other's movements without words. Where one human struck, another was already in place. Where one fell back, another stepped forward. Hours passed. The battlefield fell silent except for the groans of broken machines and the cries of scattered soldiers. And then, like ghosts, the humans emerged from the dust. Ambassador Hale walked calmly across the ruined field, her steps steady. Around her, alien weapons lay in the dirt, useless. Tanks smoked. Drones sparked in the sky. Corporal Reyes stood beside her, his fists bloodied, his chest rising and falling with heavy breaths. His uniform was torn, but his eyes burned with fire. Behind them, the other humans stood tall, bruised but unbroken. Not one carried a weapon. Not one needed to. The alien armies had collapsed without firing a single killing shot. They had broken themselves against shadows. The silence that followed was heavier than any explosion. On the ridge, alien leaders stared in disbelief. Generals who had once laughed now gripped the edges of their seats. Some shook their heads in denial. Others whispered, their voices trembling. They turned the land itself into a weapon. They did not fight like soldiers. They fight like predators. No army can stand against them. The six-eyed warlord snarled, his 6 eyes blazing with fury. He wanted to call it lies, tricks, cowardice, but he had seen it with his own eyes. His mighty armies, armed with the deadliest weapons in the galaxy, had been undone by weaponless humans. Ambassador Hale's voice carried across the broken field, calm and sharp. You believe strength comes from what you hold. We know it comes from what you are. You see weapons. We see opportunities. You see fear. We use it. Reyes raised his fist, bruised and raw but steady. We don't need weapons. We're the battlefield. The word struck harder than any cannon. The crowd of leaders fell silent. Even the six-eyed warlord, for all his fury, said nothing. For the first time in living memory, the galaxy had witnessed an army defeated not by superior firepower, but by will, by mind, by fear itself. And in that silence, one thought echoed across every empire, across every world. If this is what humans can do without weapons, what will they become if they choose war? The council chamber was silent. The battlefield trial had ended. The alien armies lay broken, their weapons scattered like toys across the dust. And the humans had stood tall, without carrying a single weapon. The six-eyed warlord paced, fury burning in his eyes. He wanted to shout, to call it lies, But the silence of the council stopped him. Too many had seen. Too many had felt the fear. Finally, one elder leader spoke, her voice trembling. Enough. We demand answers. What are you, humans? How do you fight like this without weapons? What secret are you hiding? All eyes turned to the humans. Ambassador Hale stepped forward. Her face was calm, but her voice carried power. We hide nothing. The truth is simple. You want to know why we do not need weapons? The chamber leaned forward. Because we were shaped to survive without them, she said. Murmurs spread through the hall. The six-eyed warlord slammed his axe against the floor. Riddles, he snarled. Speak plainly. Hale's calm eyes locked on his. Very well. You want the truth? Then you must understand Earth. She raised her hand, and the chamber walls filled with holograms. Images appeared, oceans raging with storms, forests where predators stalked in the night, deserts where the sun burned flesh to ash. This, Hale said, is our home. Earth. You call it a blue world. You think it is peaceful. You are wrong. Earth is a death world. It tried to kill us every day for millions of years. Gasps echoed through the council. The holograms shifted. Images of ancient humans appeared, bare-skinned, without armor, standing against beasts larger than buildings. They carried no plasma cannons, no glowing blades. Only sticks, stones, and their hands. And yet, Hale continued, we survived. We hunted predators that could crush us. We ran across endless plains until our prey fell from exhaustion. We fought with tooth and claw, with fear and fire, with nothing but our will to live. Reyes stood silently behind her, watching the images play. He saw scenes of ancient hunters surrounding a mammoth, of tribes facing wolves with nothing but fire in their eyes, of storms and famine that forced humans to endure when others would have perished. Hale's voice grew sharper. Do you understand now? Long before we touched the stars, long before we built ships or guns, we were already weapons. Every scar on our history is proof. Our bodies are forged by hardship. Our minds are sharpened by danger. Our spirits are unbroken by fear. The holograms shifted again, showing human history of war. Armies charging with steel swords. Soldiers fighting hand-to-hand in mud and blood. Ordinary people resisting with nothing but their courage. While you forged machines, we forged ourselves, Hale said. While you built weapons to make you strong, we became strong without them. This is why your beasts could not kill us. This is why your armies fell apart. We have lived with war since the beginning of our time. War is not something we do. It is something we are. The chamber was deathly still. One alien scientist whispered, they are living weapons. The six-eyed warlord shook his head violently. Lies. No species can live like this. But another council member spoke. I studied Earth's records. The ambassador speaks truth. Their planet is impossible. Storms, volcanoes, predators, diseases, hunger. Any other species would have died out. Yet humans thrived. The glass-skinned scientist stood, his voice trembling with awe. That is why they do not need weapons. They are the weapon. Their world forged them into predators the galaxy cannot match. The warlord's claws dug into the floor, his rage boiling. Then they are a threat to us all, he roared. But Hale shook her head slowly. No, we are not here to conquer. We are not here to enslave. We carry no weapons because we do not seek war. But do not mistake peace for weakness. Reyes finally spoke, his voice steady, though his knuckles were scarred and raw. We don't want to fight you. But if you force us, you'll learn what Earth already knows. We can turn anything into a weapon. Even fear, even silence, even ourselves. The council chamber fell into whispers. Some looked at the humans with new respect, others with deep fear. The elder leader who had first spoken finally stood again. Her voice was quiet but firm. I see now. You're not like us. You're something else. A people who do not need what we hold sacred. Perhaps more dangerous than all our weapons combined. Ambassador Hale bowed her head slightly. Now you understand. But the six-eyed warlord was not silent. He leaned forward, his six eyes burning with hatred. You think your history makes you untouchable? We will see. Weapons or not, no one is beyond fear. Next time, humans, We will not test you with beasts or simulations. Next time, we will come for you. For your world. Reyes's fists tightened. Hale did not move, but her calm gaze never broke. The council chamber trembled with the weight of what had been revealed. The galaxy had asked for the truth, and now it had it. Humans were not weaponless. Humans themselves were weapons. And the question now lingered in every mind. What would happen if the humans ever turned that weapon fully against the galaxy? The council chamber remained heavy with silence. The truth had been spoken. The galaxy now knew. Humans were not weak. They were not defenseless. They were the weapon. But truth alone did not end fear. The six-eyed warlord stood in the middle of the chamber, his chest rising with rage. His claws scraped the metal floor as he spoke, his voice echoing like thunder. If they are weapons, then they must be controlled or destroyed before they destroy us all. Murmurs spread quickly. Some nodded in agreement, their eyes filled with fear. Others hesitated, glancing at the calm faces of the humans. Ambassador Hale stood tall, her voice steady. We do not seek war, but if war is forced on us, we will not be the ones who fall. Reyes said nothing. He only clenched his fists, the scars on his knuckles glowing faintly in the chamber's lights. The elder leader spoke again. She was old, her skin like cracked stone, her eyes filled with centuries of wisdom. I have seen many wars, she said softly. Weapons rust, armies fall, but I have never seen a people like this. If we treat them as enemies, we may invite our own end. The warlord snarled. Then what do you suggest? That we bow to them? That we let them walk into this galaxy as predators among prey? No, the elder leader replied. But perhaps we must learn to live with them, or learn from them. The chamber erupted in arguments. Some demanded alliances, others demanded extermination. Voices clashed like blades, while the humans stood silent. Reyes finally broke the silence. His voice was low but carried through the chamber like steel. Do you want to know why we frighten you? It's not because we are strong. It's because we remind you of something you have forgotten. All eyes turned to him. You built machines to fight for you. You built weapons so you would not have to bleed. But he raised his scarred hands. We never forgot what it means to fight with nothing but ourselves. We are dangerous because we are alive. Because every human knows that when everything else is taken, when all weapons are gone, we can still stand. And we will still fight. The words settled over the chamber like smoke. For the first time, even the six-eyed warlord had no answer. His hatred was clear, but so was his unease. He had seen the humans fight. He had seen them survive. Ambassador Hale ended the silence. The galaxy must choose. Fear us or walk beside us. But know this, Earth does not kneel. Not to warlords. Not to empires. Not to anyone. The chamber froze. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then, slowly, one alien rose from his seat. The glass-skinned scientist. His voice trembled, but it carried conviction. I choose alliance. I would rather stand beside a weapon than against it. Another stood, then another. A ripple spread across the chamber as more voices rose, pledging support, choosing survival through unity instead of war. But not all. The warlord turned and stormed from the chamber, his armored guards following close behind. His final words echoed like a curse. Then war shall be. If the humans are weapons, I will forge an army strong enough to break them. The doors slammed shut. Hale and Reyes exchanged a glance. She saw the calm determination in his eyes, the kind only a soldier carried. Did we win them over? He asked quietly. Hale shook her head. No, we only showed them the truth. And truth can unite or divide. The galaxy trembles now because it finally understands what we are. Reyes looked out through the wide chamber windows. Stars burned brightly against the void. Worlds beyond them shifted in silence, carrying millions who had never even seen a human face. He spoke softly, more to himself than anyone else. They wanted weapons. Instead, they found us. The elder leader approached, her stone-like face solemn. Ambassador, soldier, you must be careful now. The warlord will not stop. He will rally others. The galaxy will test you again. Hale nodded. Let them test us. We are ready. The elder bowed her head in respect. Perhaps the galaxy needed this reminder that survival is not born from machines, but from will, from spirit. Reyes tightened his fists. His voice was calm, but filled with iron. If they come, we'll show them what Earth truly means. The chamber lights dimmed, and the humans were escorted out. The echoes of the council's debates followed them into the long halls, but the truth was already loose, unstoppable. Across the galaxy, whispers began to spread. On trade stations, in barracks, in the darkest corners of empires, the story of the humans traveled like fire. They carry no weapons. They don't need them. They are the weapon. Some spoke with awe, some with terror, some with hope, but all remembered. And in the heart of the galaxy, where stars burned brighter than suns, warlords and kings sat restless on their thrones. The humans had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same.